How's it going, everyone? Durian here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Haunted by Memories. We are 1 week in and just kind of seeing how things play out, who the kind of winners and losers are. And some fantastic person out there has updated Tier Maker with all the hero arts. I appreciate you. Shout outs to whoever that is. And we'll just kind of go one by one, try to keep it quick, talk through them, and then I'll show you guys a few decks in each color that I think are very strong and that a lot of people are playing. So let's just get into it. So one last thing, these are not ranked on how good I think they are. They're ranked on what I think, got the most support and got the most oomph out of Haunted by Memories. So like B would kind of be like didn't really get anything. S would be got a lot of great stuff, and D would be like it kind of sucks for you. Shinku Hadoken, maybe it's different than that, but that's what we'll start out with. So Shinku Hadoken, I think, didn't really get anything. There's like a few cards that seem useful for them, but for the most part, the deck pretty much stays the same. You get access to like some changes in the cards to help you in certain matches, but it's like kind of. The big winner for red, I think, is Denjin Renki. There's just so many cards that are clearly just made for Denjin Renki. They up damage. They do multiple instances of damage, so that Denjin can like buff them up like 2 times essentially. Got super buffed and is definitely like a deck to be respected now. Might not be the best deck or anything like that, but you got to keep an eye out when you're playing it because it can steal games. Let's see. Shoryuken. Let me think about this one a little bit. I haven't seen it being played a lot. I think it did get like a medium. It's like a medium because there are some very good attack buff cards in this set. There's not a lot of monsters, but the attack buff cards in the set are really good at red. And I think that you can get a lot of mileage out of it that way. So yeah, definitely think we got a little bit. Oh, actually, we're gonna put up Shinku Hadoken there too because we did get Rescuer's Bullet. I forgot about that card. Basically, it's a way for red to return cards to their hand and also do damage at the same time. So red finally has a way to save their units from being destroyed, and then you also get the more on plays. And Shinku Hadoken Ryu focus a lot on the on play effects, so I think you can really take advantage of that. So small improvement. We might have to change this a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna change it. So C is gonna be, apologies, C is gonna be like doesn't really do anything. That's kind of I don't know. We'll keep it how it is until it breaks. Dive Bomb, nothing really happened. I would say with all the actions, yeah, Dive Bomb. Okay, yeah, we didn't change this because decks like are very rarely getting worse, so unless they get nerfed. So yeah, so C is the new baseline. I'm sorry, apologize for that. We gotta change things up on the fly. So C is the new baseline. This means it didn't really get anything, or I haven't seen much oomph out of it. So yeah, B gets a little bit, A gets a lot, and S is like completely overhauls the deck. Okay, so. We also got Wrath Awoken. This is kind of in this like got a little bit tier. There's a lot of like good actions for them. Mainly the attack buffs. The deck still primarily focuses on using MP batteries in green, the mana boosters, but they got some nice tools in there to just increase attack and just like get a little boost, Blazing Wall, I think. I don't know how I feel about Blazing Wall. I don't think Blazing Wall like is very good, but I think that it like slowly gets better just because it's a worse antibody activation, but it doesn't like depend on much of your deck. Like you don't have to go force yourself into explores. So I do think it gets slightly better, but I really haven't seen any innovations with this deck. I have seen some, there's some guys trying to make a rush deck work. I definitely saw that, but overall it's a creature heavy deck, and we got a whole set of spells. It doesn't do too much. So that's kind of like where I'm feeling. Oh, where's Jill? Can we go over Jill too? This yeah, this does nothing still, so didn't really get changed. Surprise, surprise. Genesis actually got a bit better. I would say got a lot better, because you don't really have like any extra explorers, but no, you do. You have a few extra explorers, but the main thing is that Genesis allows you to slap a lot of actions down, which can build up your memory count, you know, fairly high, much quicker, and that can kind of help you activate things. You also get a lot of action, so there's a lot of red resonate units now, so you can take advantage of those. Like, I think Genesis got a lot better. Maybe time will tell if it's like a super solid deck, but it definitely got a lot better. I would say antibody activation's in kind of the same boat, because it functions a similar way. You can play a lot of explorers, you get a lot of actions, and then, you know, there's some real nice legendaries in there that can really buff it up, and like Cody helps, because that's just a solid card. So yeah, I think these two are kind of like, they got a lot better. They didn't just get like a tiny boost with like a couple cards. Okay, so green. Heart Tank. Where's Heart Tank? Heart Tank, I would say, didn't really go anywhere. A lot of the new cards, of course, in green, they resonate. They are definitely made for X. They're definitely made for X, but they're made for Charged Shot, which is going to go in S, because this deck got a complete overhaul with all the green resonate units. They get +1 HP when you play a card, so you can boost your whole field up to like massive stat lines. It makes it really good for against decks that don't have like a lot of removal, especially red decks, which are forced to do damage to your guys, and green decks are just kind of like, who's the bigger guy? So Charged Shot got a major overhaul. So yeah, very good. Okay, Gaia Armor. I think Gaia Armor got it's got a little bit better. It didn't get anything in particular, but there's like a lot of cards in here, like the Resonate cards. If you can't target them, they just keep growing. That's pretty solid. And then there's cards like Sherry Birkin, which have the gain life every 5 seconds, gain HP every 5 seconds, just built in. And if you can't get rid of it, you can't target it, then it's just kind of annoying, you know what I mean? So I think get a small boost, but like nothing game changing for this deck. Kikosho is kind of in the no change boat. Doesn't really do much. Same as before. Didn't really get anything to take advantage of the full field shield. This card, Hyaku, Lightning Legs. I don't know. I think it's a little bit better because you have cards that are better at staying alive. And typically when cards are better at staying alive, they get a lot more out of the Heavy Pierce. And like I've seen decks use it a little bit better than they have in the past. Yon got nerfed, so it's actually one of the few decks that got worse. The hero art itself actually just straight up got nerfed. So yeah, sad boys times. Green, there's another green here, Nero. This one, Devil Breaker, didn't really do anything. Like it still does what it does, give extra attack, give that boosty boost. But it hasn't really changed anything. True Power is very similar. I do think True Power got a slight buff because there's like ways to pull cards out of the deck now. So you can pull units off on quick response, and you can True Power them up. It also has like a few more growth actions that are strong that you can add into decks and get that memory count up to like reset your growth, add your growth monsters back to your hand, replay them, True Power, or you have more golden orb type effects, so they die and you get them back and you True Power. So I think True Power got a little bit better, but I'm not gonna say a lot better because I would say they got a lot of tools that they can work with. So yeah, I would say there's a lot of improvements. No one's really messing with it, but I think there's a lot that can be done in True Power. Hey Nico is a little bit better. I don't know particularly what they got, but the fact that you get more spells or memory seems like a good thing for me. So let's do purple now. We're doing purple. So Morrigan Temptation. There actually is a new halt card. So this is a little bit better. And it's also got Resonate, which Resonate got a decent buff here. So, gosh, this is hard. Resonate. I would say Resonate's good, so we'll throw up Dante Devil Trigger, because typically you play Resonate in that deck too. With the Devil Triggers, you can't be hit. I think both of these decks got like some good tools, like enough to be meta relevant, or like somewhat relevant in the meta again. Like that's more than a small buff, I think. This card got nothing. Rip Darkness Illusion, nothing happened in there. Shadowblade got nerf, and there's Rahoka, I forget what it's called. The Zero art just does it better, so that's worse. Feels bad for Morgan. Let's see, we got Ebony and Ivory. No, this is Quicksilver. This is Quicksilver, so this one I think got nothing. There was an experimental deck that used this to like be more aggressive and your opponent could counterattack, but there are just a lot better ways to do that in this set. And the reason like you had that is because Hoitzel was all over the place, and anti-air just doesn't really do anything anymore. So like there's no real reason to use this hero art. I wouldn't say it got worse, but like definitely didn't get better. Ebony and Ivory, there's a lot more Resonate in this set, so I want to put it slight buff. He got a little better, but yeah, that's that. And then Zero, oh my gosh, Zero's crazy. Zero just gets to be an S tier because it's new, but all these effects are just insane. Like Fight, which is Fight Against Inner Demons, is just a better Hey Nico by a long shot. We've got Rahoka, which is a better Spike Launch, is essentially just as good as Hadoken. It's a better Shadow Blade. Like it's better than like all the other damage things. So like it's just insane. And then you've got Tenkuha, which is a better Devil Breaker, and you know arguably on par with Spike Dive Bomb. Like this Zero's insane. Just the hero is just crazy. It's crazy. So then black, we've got Dark Destruction. I think Dark Destruction is, let's see, what's black got going for it? What does black got going for it? I think Dark Destruction is, it's about the same. There's not like anything like major going on in Dark Destruction, but it is what it is. Uro is about the same as well. There's a lot of new revive. No, there's some new stuff coming. I'm gonna say slight buff, a slight improvements, slightly more cards you can throw in the deck. They're not all good. That's the problem. It's like they gave him cards that revive, but they kind of like weren't good. So you know he got some stuff, but it's not that great. Bringer of Nightmares has definitely got a lot. The new Sigma is insane. It didn't like totally overhaul the deck, but they got enough that it's like, ooh, there's something going on here. Spike Dive Bomb. Oh, this card actually, this one got a lot. These got a lot because like there's a new instant attack black card. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. That's really good. I think you can double it up with the new gate, so it double destroys. It doesn't matter. Spike Launch, I think Spike Launch didn't get an overhaul, but they got a lot of good stuff. Like mainly the instant attack. Change Farm is still not doing anything. And then all the Akuma ones pretty much don't do anything still. Like they don't really change. Actually, this one technically I would say it got worse because there's just a lot of cards that have high HP, and if you don't have a good way to drop them down, but I could be wrong about that one. That's just kind of like how it goes. Nothing really stands out for me for any Akuma decks, but maybe I can change that. Maybe we'll work on it a bit. So that's kind of like my thoughts on who's getting the biggest boosts and not. Remember, these C row is not column, stupid. The C row is kind of what I think didn't really get anything. D is like what got actively worse, and I think these two got nerfed, and this one is just like I thought about trying to make a deck with it, and there's just no reason to because I feel like it could never destroy anything, which is just like because of how things are this meta. These guys all got slightly better, maybe like a couple cards that could do some things for them. A has enough to be like maybe we should look at this deck again and consider it again, and it might be very good. And then S is like total deck overhaul. Like maybe maybe not the best deck, but total deck overall. Zero just gets to be here because he's new, and basically every deck is new for him. But he does a lot of things better than a lot of other heroes. So that's kind of my take on hero arts going in the meta, and the key standouts here for me. You can see, let's just reset, just to talk about colors and how they're doing. We've got red, and we've got green, and we've got purple, and we've got black. So these are the decks that I think are probably doing the hottest for the kind of meta. I don't really know where to rank them, so I just want to bring them up to talk about it, and then we'll show some deck lists. And then there's also like charge. So the Denjin deck, Denjin and Shinku, like they're still there, they still exist, they're still good. You still play them, but they definitely struggle with charge shot. And green decks, they've always kind of struggled with green decks, but charge shot is like so popular, and it's so new and fun and exciting that a ton of people are playing it, which makes red hard to play. But it's really weak to removal. It's like really weak to removal. So you got decks floating around like Big Resonate. Well, not really Big Resonate, but like there's a almost completely action-based X deck that's super good. And of course, black can be spec'd to just destroy everything. So then charge shot's gonna have a bad time. I think Spike Launch is probably the best kind of place to be in for black decks because it's really aggressive, so you don't give a lot of time for the other decks to set up, and just keep them on the back foot. And then we've got Tenkuha, which represents the flight aggro decks, which have definitely gotten better. They've got a lot of new hero arts. They've got an absolutely insane new black flyer, and they've got black instant attack too if they're going the black route. So these are the kind of decks to watch for. Let's get into some deck profiles, thanks to all the peeps on Discord and other content creators. All right, so the first deck I want to share with you all is by it's pinned in the Discord on the Zero channel by user Joker. This is what I think is like a solid Zero control X Hunter deck. It's heavy on actions, wants to build up that memory, control the game, slap down the X Hunter, and that's game for the opponent. So here, that's the list. I don't have all the cards for these, but I built them so I could show you all the QR code and you could screen cap it and check it out that way. So if you guys didn't know, I feel like it's not that obvious, but when you scan for decks and stuff, you scan for QR codes, you can check your library. So I assume you can do that for decks as well, because there's a QR code. So you can screen cap it, and then you can find it in your library and then get a QR code from there. You don't have to like do this thing of like taking a picture on your desktop. So yeah, pro tips and tricks. But yeah, this is typical, lots of spells. This deck specifically like gets a lot of weakness, so you can slow down your opponent and build up your memory for only one. I think that's really strong. And yeah, and you've got like a slew of, this deck is super expensive. It's just a slew of legendaries, and you kind of need them all. But it's strong. A lot of people are playing it, and it's kind of frustrating to go against. So you need, like, this is my number one. If I had to say this is a boogeyman for the format, this is the boogeyman. Like, this is the deck that you need to be able to have game against, because you're gonna see it. It's very strong. It's very strong. So then we talked about Spike Launch. I think Spike Launch is an excellent spot for the current meta, because it's fast. So it's fast enough to be able to put the pressure on zero decks, similarly to what I just showed you, and it has enough to control to deal with the like more annoying decks like that build up, fairly quickly, like charge shot, things like that. But you're gonna have a tough time against Denjin because you hurt yourself and then they blast you on top of that. But hopefully your 3 selfish predations will save you there. So yeah, and Malphus of course too. So you get that life, every time you attack. So good. So yeah, I think Spike Launch is really good. Definitely try this one if you're looking to play a black, especially Nargigante. Boom, QR code. We're gonna rewind a bit and check out the Zero QR code as well, because I forgot to do that. So there's the Zero there's the Zero QR code for all you wonderful Zero fans. Again, huge deck to watch out for. Okay, and then So I want to shout out to Gray on the Discord for pinning or posting that Spike Launch deck. I tried it out. Feels real good. Feels real nice. And then we've got RedZero, who showed off a Denjin Renki deck on the Discord, and I thought that deck was pretty cool, so I changed it a bit because he has 4 Codys in there, and I think I only have like 2 or something, and I just wanted to like try other things because I do like the new Ashley Graham, which buffs your damage by 1, so you get a little bit extra going on there. But it felt really good to play, and I think it is definitely a contender. And if you don't want to play Shinku Hadoken, you just want to play this burn style deck, this is definitely a deck to watch out for. And I think it's a little bit better because it's faster at closing out games when you need it to, but it also has a lot of control, so you can actually, if you draw right, you can beat Charge Slot by just destroying their stuff before it comes online, before they start just ramping up. So yeah, Denjin Renki I think is very good. Give it a try. Here's the QR code. And of course, thanks to RedZero for this. And then the green one, Big Daddy HungryPuff, posted this list he's been working on for X in the Discord. And I thought it looked really solid. I think it's got a lot of things going for it that speak to what the Charge Shot deck's weaknesses are. And he like kind of understands that and is playing as such. So the first thing you'll notice is Leap. It gives all your units anti-air. There's a lot of flight decks. The flight aggro deck is very popular because it's low cost for you budget players or free-to-play players out there. That is a very good deck. It's a very good deck to kind of look at and try out. I will be doing like a free-to-play guide. It's something I'm working on, free-to-play budget guide. So I hope you all look forward to that and get a little hype for that. Hopefully soon, fingers crossed. But yeah, anti-air helps you deal with that. It's also like you can just cycle it to gain memory if you don't need it. And then of course you get a plethora of actions to build up memory and also activate your resonates and your new X's and your gammas. And the cool thing about this deck, I think, is the Chris Redfields at the bottom, the Felicia, and the Sherry Birkin. This speaks to what the deck's weaknesses are, which are getting a lot of creatures destroyed. Your Felicia can build back up, and the Chris Redfields and the Sherry Birkins, Sherry Birkin summons in an extra card along with her, so it helps you fill your field up again if you get everything destroyed. And Chris is also, along with Sherry, at a high cost, which means they're hard to destroy for things like Dark Destruction that destroys 5 costs or less. So there's definitely some things in there that are going for it to just help you with the weaker matchups, and I like that. So thank you, Big Daddy HungryPuff, for doing that, showing off this deck for us. And the last one is gonna be StoutHelm, fellow YouTuber and content creator. He had some success, went up to champion with this very, very aggressive purple black aggro deck. I think this kind of archetype is starting to be called bats. It uses Pyro Bat, Kitchawacha, which is kind of a bat, Palomu, which is kind of a bat. So it's kind of like the key flyers in purple. And then we got the new Astalos, which hurts yourself, but it's got Resonate +1 attack, so it easily just gets out of control. You can buff your other units and he'll get stronger too. It's pretty crazy. So this deck is really strong. There's a lot of variants of it. This one uses Tenkuha. There's also a similar deck that uses Spike Dive Bomb, so you can be like, oh, I'll tank an attack with a Spike Dive Bomb on the defense, do just insane damage on the attack. So there's definitely variations on this. Keep an eye out for this deck, and if you want to try it, it only got better, especially with the addition of Bloodbath Frenzy, which gives you an instant attack. So this deck is solid. It is something to watch out for. So thank you so much, Stout, for putting it out in the masses. And if you already seen it, here it is again. I just gotta shout him out because I think that this is like a good solid deck, and it has a core of all the aggressive flight decks that you'll typically see. So that is kind of my thoughts on where things at. I was a little skeptical at first about the meta with Haunted by Memories being an action focused deck. I don't, spells are something that I think are very very scary to work with in many games, just because they're like uninteractive in a way. It's like, well, I played a creature and then they just destroyed it, and then I played a creature and then they just destroyed it, which is how some of the decks are playing now, and it's not that fun to play against for many people. So I was a little worried, but things are starting to settle down a little bit. There's still a lot of experimenting to be done, but things are starting to settle down. I think there's a good place for aggro in the meta. I think there's a good place for control decks like the X-Hunters deck, and there's a lot of new decks that just popped up and got revitalized by this set. So overall, I'm pretty happy and I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. That is all I have. And if you guys want to check out and see what other people are working on deck ideas, link to the Tepin Discord is going to be below. It's a great place that I kind of just lurk to see what people are doing, what ideas people have, and things like that. So I'm around there lurking. I hope to see you guys in another video, maybe on the Discord as well. And I hope you all keep on learning, keep on having fun, keep on enjoying this Haunted by Memories meta. Let me know what you think is the most annoying deck that came out of Haunted by Memories. I want to feel the salt and like, I hate this meta, I hate this set. Ugh. So let me know all about that in the comments. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.